Have you been thinking of launching your own podcast, but not sure where to start? Well, we were in your same position when we started. That's when we found Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout makes podcasting easy. With Buzzsprout, you can launch a professional podcast in no time. In fact, Buzzsprout has already helped over 100,000 people get their podcast launched. With Buzzsprout, you'll get a great looking website, audio players to drop into other websites, detailed analytics to see how people are listening, and tools to promote your episodes, and much, much more. Plus, Buzzsprout publishes new blog posts, YouTube videos, and podcast episodes on a weekly basis to help you become a better podcaster. So if you're ready to start your own podcast, just click the link in the show notes and receive a $20 Amazon gift card for signing up. This lets Buzzsprout know that we sent you, and it also supports our show. Buzzsprout, the easiest way to start your podcast. Thanks.
It's totally different. So I push it, man. I'm like, to a point where you have no excuse. You have no excuse to fail. You have a mother, you have a father, you have this, you have that, you have all this stuff at your disposal. I didn't have any of that. So let's utilize it. So look at me now. Look at me now. I am not supposed to be here. You know what I mean? I could have went to the left or to the right. I could have went to the wrong or right. I took the right path. You know what I mean? And I tell kids that. And education-wise is the main thing, the reason that, and I tell them that, I'm like, if I was an average student, you don't have to be average. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You don't have to be average. You can be the best that you can be. And I pushed it. I'm like, with all my life experiences, I tell the kid the exact same thing, man. You don't want to do this. You got to get your grade. You're not going to do anything without an education. It's not happening.
And here we go. You're listening to the Kings Can Move On podcast with your hosts, Jason Stewart and Frank Rainey.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Kings Can Move On podcast. You have your co-host, Frank the Tank, a.k.a. Big Reno, a.k.a. Big No.
What's up, everybody? Well, Lil J, a.k.a. Wood. What's happening with it? What's up, Big No?
Nothing much, man. What's going on in your world? How's Houston treating you?
It's hot as hell, but I ain't gonna hold me down. I'm gonna be all right with it. I'm gonna be all right.
So, you need to come on back home, bro, because it's about to cool down real nice up here in the Kansas City, and we about to get snow and everything. Probably by midnight. Shit, who knows? It's so.
You know what? I hear you, but I ain't for it no more.
I feel you.
I ain't for it no more. I can't fuck with it, but
I feel you.
But that's what's up. So we got a guest tonight, right?
Yeah, man. We got a big time guest, man. I've known this cat since 7th grade. Smith Hale.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now this man has went on to do big things. And we're gonna talk to him today. Big Tyrone Davis. How you doing, brother?
What up, man? I'm doing great. Blessed, man. Truly blessed, bro.
Yeah.
Y'all
doing the AKAs, man. I'm an AKA Taji, AKA Big City on the softball field, baby.
Big City?
yeah. Hey, man, they naming it this old man, probably about 67 years old, umpiring in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm gonna name you Big City. I'm like, oh, okay, I took it, man, like years ago, dog.
Took it and ran with it. I feel you, bro. I like it. Big City.
Yeah, you notice how they look at us, man, from St. Louis, like we some city boys.
Mm-hmm. Them country boys. Yeah.
It's real different between St. Louis. Yeah. Real different. Real. Yeah, it's real different. Now, Reno, y'all go back to Smith Hill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I came in about the 9th grade and met everybody at Ruskin, and then I tried to play ball with Taji. Now I tried.
I remember that.
I wasn't on their level, but I tried to play basketball.
You were like, what the boom block line? No.
I stayed.
Jason, let me get the heck up out of here, man.
Man, hey, Coach Walker wasn't gonna give me no time anyway, so I was like I'm out of here, dog. I ain't
Oh,
gonna run the bench the
man.
whole season.
I didn't want to play with y'all now. Wait, go on somewhere.
I was like, no, y'all go. I'm a root for y'all though. I got you.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Now, see, if for people who are not watching on YouTube, you know, we also on Spotify, Apple, all that other shit. So like and subscribe, all that. But people who can't see Tyrone, I first met him in 7th grade. Tyrone was 8'2" tall in the 7th grade, and so Tyrone, talk about that, man. How tall were you back? Like when did you hit your growth spurt?
Man, you know what's crazy about that, Frank, man, it's like, I remember too, I was terrible, man, in basketball. I remember I was a baseball player.
Mm-hmm.
Remember? And if you look back at all my pictures, dude, I'm like looking like a giant amongst kids. Like, it was like my freshman year, I was like 6'2", 6'3". But then I left, came back my sophomore year, I was 6'8", man. And I was like, and I was young too. I was only 13. You know what I mean? Man. So I've been tight, man. I've been this height since I was 13, man.
Wow.
13, yeah, throwing like 90 miles an hour, man.
Wow.
We was actually out of Clark Academy yesterday, brought back memories, man.
Oh man, they should have kept you in that baseball, boy. You'd have making millions right there.
Man, let me tell you something, man. When I got drafted in baseball, man, it was beautiful, man. But I didn't really have that person behind me to push me besides my grandfather. You know what I mean? So it was kind of, you know what I mean, with me being basketball, I was like all conference, all this, all that, getting all this notoriety in basketball. Yeah, I seen the baseball. I got drafted in baseball, but I talked to somebody and they were like, man, you could be in the dang on minors for 20 years, man. So I figured I'd just go get my education in first. You know what I mean? And maybe I can go back to play baseball. Because at the time, I ended up going to State Fair. And State Fair had a baseball team and a basketball team. So I ended up going to State Fair. And the reason I went to State Fair was because I didn't have the upbringing. I just did barely enough to get by. You know what I mean? In school, education-wise. You know what I mean? I did barely enough. And at the time, I think we needed an 18 on my ACT. Ended up getting a 17. So I ended up going to State Fair. And then they shut down the whole baseball program.
Oh,
so that shut down baseball, man. So then I just was focused on basketball, man.
Right. And went on to K.
Let's talk about that, Taj. I know you went. I know you spent some time at K-State playing ball, right? So you started where at State Fair?
So, yes, I started at State Fair Community College in Sedalia, Missouri. It was a JUCO.
Okay.
I was All-American. I was a JUCO All-American in 1993 coming out. I ended up actually going to Baylor for a year.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Y'all, man, you Google that, man. It was wild, bro. It was like, dude, I went through a whole NCAA investigation, federal investigation. Not just no NCAA, man. The feds was in their arms. You know what I mean? But I didn't do it. Yeah.
Was it point shaving or something?
Nothing like that, man. It was all about when I got out of state, when I came out of State Fair, I was short, like, I think 7 core classes. Not even, it was electives. You know what I'm saying? Not core. I was short electives. All I needed to do was take 3 classes. It could have been anything. But these dudes, they put me on in this Old Testament and New Testament and American history. And I'm like, man, why y'all put me in these hard classes, man? I said, well, Baylor is a Baptist school or whatever, and it's gonna go. I
didn't know that.
Yes, I'm like, okay, whatever. So I took the first one. And I'm like, and it was a correspondence course. So how it went was they send you a book, like correspondence stuff. You go through it, you do an open book, then you send it back to them, and then they send it back to your school, and they supposed to give me a proctor. So what happened was the proctor was rolling with them. You know what I mean? So I didn't know. You know what I mean? I didn't know. So I got through the first, I got through the second, but then that Old Testament, that history, it was crazy, man. I was like, I barely passed the open book. And that's how hard it was. I ain't lying, dog. True story, bro. I did it. And I went to my coach. I said, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through this, man. He's like, you'll be all right. I'm like, man, I said, Coach Johnson, I promise you, man, this mug is tough. And he was like, man, you'll be okay. So I'm like, okay. So I took that mug, man, went through the proctor, did everything I was supposed to do. I got that mug back, bro. That mug said like 104 out of 106. I said, whoa. Wow. So me being an athlete, dude, I'm accustomed to, you know what I mean, teachers treat you different. You know what I mean? If you're an athlete, you know what I mean? you're gonna get that leniency and stuff like that. And that's what I was accustomed to. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's why they put me in this correspondence course, because they're gonna grade me on my efforts. So I wasn't gonna ask no question. You know what I mean? I wasn't saying nothing. You know what I mean? So then we went on, man. First game of the season, man. Coach called me. It was 4 of us.
And this is when you're at Baylor now?
This is at Baylor, man.
Okay.
It was 4 of us, man. Literally. It was me, my boy Jason Irvin. It was a dude named Shannon Brantley and Marcus. And they called all of us to the office. They said, hey, man, y'all not gonna be able to play tonight. And I'm like, why not? They're like, oh, well, the NCAA is investigating us. We didn't do anything wrong. You know, you ain't to worry about anything. You know, you'll be playing next game. Like, okay, cool. Next game came, nothing. Next game came, nothing. These are all exhibition games. Now, by the time the season starts, we got a gag order, everything going on, man. We can't talk to the media. We can't do this. We can't do that, man. I'm having to get attorneys, man.
Really?
Oh, man, it was crazy. I'm Googling it, man. You'll see it. It's man, I can't make it up, bro.
Wow.
Can't make it. So I ended up, I was either going to go to, like, through the season, I went on, man. Then I got to the point where I just got an attorney, man. And those other 3 dudes, they went their direction. I went my direction. Because I knew I didn't do nothing wrong. So I had to go in front of the grand jury and everything over that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? And basically what they told me, I was on there, it was like, is this your handwriting? I said, nope. This your handwriting? I said, nope. How about this?
So let me backtrack. Let me make sure I'm understanding. What was they doing? Like taking tests for you?
Man, dude, my fingerprints weren't even on my test.
Really?
Yeah.
So they ain't even telling you about the test.
Nah, and that's what helped me, because I had no idea. You know what I mean? And I told the judge, I'm like, man, honestly, I said, man, I'm young. I said, man, if they would have told me that they were changing my stuff, I'm like, man, I would have been with it. You know what I mean? I'm like, hell yeah. Change, now, hell yeah. To get through. Oh, but I said, but I didn't. I mean, and that was what got me out, man, because I really didn't know what the hell was going on.
Wow.
Yeah, so then I had the option to go to Kansas State or Arizona. Arizona, Lute Olson at the time they was wanting me to come. I was gonna go to Arizona, but then they had Damon Stoudemire, they had Khalid Reeves, they had Joseph Blair. Man, they had 3 damn first, second rounders on their teams. I'm like, man, I'm not going there to sit on nobody's bench. You know what I mean? I found out this coach named Tom Asbury, he recruited me when he was at Pepperdine. He had just signed at Kansas State, man. And Kansas State had always been where I wanted to go. You know what I mean? Because it was close to home. It was in the Big 8, the whole 9, man. So, I mean, God made it willing for me to get there, man. I got there, bro.
Yeah. That's what's up, man.
Yeah, I remember those days. I remember, and it was funny with Baylor. Hey, y'all. Sorry to interrupt, but I just had to remind y'all. Since you are enjoying this episode, go ahead and subscribe to us. And if you're on Apple and Spotify, go ahead and follow us. We would sure appreciate it. All right, back to the episode. They've had, several scandals.
Yes.
They've gotten worse and worse over time.
Yes.
You know, your stuff, that was just some grading issues. You know, they had the issue.
Yeah, that was.
You know,
they had a kid kill somebody.
Dude, I actually hosted that dude, man, and he came in on a visit, and I actually hosted that dude. Yeah, I was there the year before that.
Wow.
Yeah, so I actually hosted that dude.
So the same coach?
No, he was gone. That coach is gone, but they had recruited the dude.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that dude that actually was in the midst of all that, man, I actually did his thing when he came here to visit Baylor, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baylor has some bad scandals.
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you about your recruiting process, man. What was your recruitment process like? Because you was an all-star. What was they telling you, as a center or forward?
At the time, it was a center, but once I got to Kansas State, I was actually a forward. But you know what I mean, the guys we had on our team, I mean, they wasn't like, we had a guy named Gerald Eaker. He was like 6'10", 6'11", but Gerald Eaker wasn't that monster in the paint like I was. So they would put me on the bigger guys because I ain't gonna lie to you, I was a dog in there, man. I didn't back down to nobody. I was only 6'8", now, which is small, which is small to take, man, at that level. Could you imagine? Just when I was playing the Big 8, man, you had Big Greg Olsentag at 7'2".
Yeah.
Big Warren Meyer, who was like 7 foot. You had Brian, Big Country, who was at Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Big 8 was tough. Paul Pierce at KU. You had Rayford Friend, 6'10". You know what I mean? Scott Pollard, 6'10".
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Mikey Moore in Nebraska with Tyrone Lue. I mean, dude, it was tough, bro.
Yeah.
It was tough. And your boy your boy was all Big 8 2 years in a row too, dog.
That's what's up. Well, man, how did they recruit you when you out of high school? Was they going to the high school and saying, "Hey, I want to talk to this guy"? Did they come knock on y'all's door?
Man, it's like this, man. I can give you a couple of crazy situations, man, and they were learning situations to me. Like I can recall when we were playing against Ray South. It was about 8 scouts in the gym. So what they would do is they would come to the gym, and they can't talk to you when you're getting recruited. They can't come up and say, blah blah blah. That's against NCAA rules. I can't remember exactly what they were back then, but now you can't talk to them and stuff like that. So I can remember one situation where I was playing. It was like 8 scouts. It was 7 or 8 in the gym. I remember Coach Warford told me, and when I was like really aggressive, so every time I get a rebound, I was screaming like ah, and I'll block a shot ah. So I went up to dunk one time and I got hung. And I was screaming, I got hung, so the crowd started mocking me. So me being young and irresponsible, man, I backpedaled down and like basically gave everybody the bird, right? They said every scout in the gym got up, man, walked out.
Oh shit, no, for real?
Yeah, it's true story, man. True story. I was talking to Jerry Mullins, and Jerry Mullins like a big time guy that knows all this. He like everybody in the gym, man, was basically like that, man. Because my attitude was horrible back then. Because I had a chip, I was playing with a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's basically what made me the man I am today, man, because I didn't really have a father. I didn't have that person to push me. I didn't have that older brother. I didn't have any of that, man. So
you mentioned the grandfather.
Yeah, my grandfather was basically crazy. Yeah, that was it. That was it, man. My grandfather raised me, my grandparents, my grandma and grandfather raised me. You know, my mom passed like 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So now I'm just here. But the recruiting process was always different back then. Nowadays, it's so much simpler for the kids nowadays. Back then, it was totally different. You know what I mean? I was getting recruited by everybody. You know, I had sacks full of letters coming from schools when I was in high school. I had sacks. Coach Warford, he would give them to me and I would look at them. If they wasn't handwritten, I wouldn't even look at them. You know what I mean? Because I knew by then I knew that all that stuff is computer generated or whatever. So if it wasn't a coach that literally handwrote it and gave it to me, I would not even look at it. I would just toss it. I would just toss it because I would know that they wasn't serious. You know what I mean? And at that time, I could do that, because I had a lot of, I had a lot of schools that was interested in me. So that's how the recruiting process was back then. You know what I mean? They send you a letter, maybe talk to you. I remember Kansas State they came to my house. K-State came to my house, and I remember it was Dana Altman at the time. And he's actually at the University of Oregon right now, as we speak. Head coach, man, great coach, man. But at the time, I didn't think that. You know what I mean? I wish I would have went there then. I probably would have learned a lot more. Yeah. But I remember Dana came in there, man, and it was me, my mom, because by then, my mom had came back and got me. You know what I mean? My grandmother didn't raise me, but I came back during the Smith Hill area. That's when my mom got me, when I met you. I just got back with my mom when we met. You know what I mean? Okay. So I remember he came in and he was like, Tyrone, right now you're down here. But when you come to Kansas State, you'll be up here. And that rubbed me the wrong way. So that was the only
calling you a low life, basically. Like, you gonna call me a low life in my own house?
I took it personal, man. Right. He didn't mean nothing by it, man. I'm telling you, all this stuff is life lessons for me, man. Real talk.
Well, fast forward, man, to your son now. Now you had your career at K-State, even played overseas for a little bit, right?
Yeah. You want me or my son?
Well, I'm saying you played overseas and then came home to raise a family. Yeah. You have some kids and their sons now that are doing some things. Tell us about them.
Oh yeah, like with me when I graduated in '96, I played in Japan. I went over playing Japan. I actually tried out for Boston. I had a vet. I signed with this agent named Guy Zucker. I mean, he was a big time agent or whatever. So I went to Boston and worked out with Boston. I had a tryout with the Denver Nuggets, but at the same time, I had this contract in Japan. So I ended up taking that money because at the time, you gotta understand, man, I've been with my family, man, since I was 19. You know what I mean? So it was totally different for me. You know what I mean? I had to think about them when it came down to whether I'm gonna take a tryout or a guaranteed contract. So I took the guaranteed contract in Japan. You know what I mean? So I did Japan, I did France, I did Switzerland, I did Dominican. I did the CBA for a minute. I was actually in the gym the day when Master P came in Fort Wayne, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they just weren't paying enough. They weren't paying enough. So I went over to Japan. Ended my career, and I got my Khalil. Khalil's my firstborn with my wife, Tyrone Davis. He played at Austin P. He actually ended up. What's crazy is, like in 2019, they actually did the little Cinderella story for them, man. They ended up playing against KU in the first round of the NCAA tournament, which was a big time thing, man. In 19, you know what I mean? Just like, what are the odds of my son playing against my arch rivals, KU? You know what I mean?
Right.
And he had a field day with it though, and it was really, really, really nice, man. You know what I mean? So I had Khalil, then we got Ronnie. Ronnie was my wife had 2 kids when I met her. She had Kiera, which was my daughter, who was murdered several years ago, and then she had Ronnie. So I basically raised them. So I look at them as my kids. You know what I mean? They're mine. You know what I mean? Because I was the one that was there, man, from ages 6 to 5. So Ronnie ended up going to Jacksonville State. He was an All-American at Johnson County. Khalil was an All-American at Lawson State in Birmingham, Alabama. Ronnie ended up going to Jacksonville State playing. Khalil ended up going to Austin P and playing. Then we got our youngest, Tyrone Davis. He went to Jacksonville, University of Jacksonville. Not Jacksonville State, Jacksonville, which is in Florida. So he ended up being like freshman of the year. He had a heck of a freshman year. Tore his ACL. He had a decent year the year after. Coming out that ACL surgery, it was tough for him or whatever. But he had a good year that year. Then they had a new coach come in. He put his name in the portal, which you guys know what the portal is, right?
Yeah. For portal.
Yeah. So he put his name in the portal, and he he had about 8 offers, you know what I mean? But then he figured he would stay there because he was loyal to Jacksonville or whatever. So he ended up staying a year. Had a great year. It was a monster year last year. Can't complain about it. It's just he just wasn't a fit for that offense. Tyree's a team player, and that team is more of a get this person the ball, everybody else just watch. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what it was. And Tyrese don't fit in with teams like that. Tyrese fit in with like-minded players. That plays. You know what I mean? That gets it in, that plays together as a team. You know what I'm saying? Then I also have a 13-year-old too. He actually out there with his mom at Blue Springs. So it's like, so I got 3 boys just biologically. But the one you talked about, Tyrese, and he's the one he has a definite opportunity to do something different, to be big, man. Because he's like a 6'6", 6'7" point guard, man. So he got.
Where's he at now? He's the
one that's at Eastern Washington.
Okay.
What year is he in? He damn near made like defensive player of the year for that conference last year. He shot about 44% from 3-point range last year. I mean, he can flat out D up and he can flat out go.
That's what's up, man.
Of all of us, he got a little bit of me, Ronnie, and Khalil.
So what is he? What year eligibility is going into right
That's what's crazy because of that COVID year and because of the ACL, he's already graduated. He's working on his master's right. He still has 2 years eligibility.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so it's a blessing. But we're looking at, possibly, getting this done this year.
Yeah. Get him out there. Hopefully he get to the league.
Man, I promise you, man, that's his circle, bro.
Yeah.
That's all he messes. He messes with like-minded people. That's his people. Devontae Gray, a good guy with him, is one of his boys. PJ Washington plays for Charlotte. He was just with him 3 weeks. That's his little brother. You know what I mean? That's who he stays around. You know what I mean? So you stay around idiots, more than likely gonna turn out to be in it. I mean, you stay around positive people that work hard trying to get to that next level. I truly believe that's gonna push you to get to that level.
That's a law of attraction.
Oh yeah, he's already got his foot in the door, which is a blessing.
So can I ask a question, bro?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, dog. It's interesting to me.
I'm just gonna stay here and watch y'all talk.
I just start thinking about daughter. Every time you say something, thinking about parents, like where I'm put.
Oh, your old selfish ass. They want to think about his own selfish interest right now. He want to ask you about how to get his daughter to the league. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
We ain't talking about you and your child today, right now.
Hey, man, that's great.
Oh my God. Taji, well, I wanted to ask. So all your boys sound like they at least played on like the next level as far as colleges and went on to really play some real ball. So now, did you do any coaching when they were younger? Were you coaching them in like AAU or anything like that, or were
Which
you?
is crazy. I was so busy. I didn't really have, like, for Ronnie and Khalil, I didn't really have the time because I was busy. You know what I mean? I was either gone overseas. I was out making money then. You know what I mean? I was playing through their area. You know what I mean? Then I finally came back. So, and I didn't really start coaching for real, man, till Tyrese was probably at that age. And Tyrese is we were so much alike, I couldn't coach him. It was times where I wanted to choke him, man. So I tried to coach him, but I felt that I would pass it off to somebody else, man, because y'all could tell my son to do something and he'll listen to y'all. But yeah, you know what I mean? But me, he wouldn't. It's daddy. You know what I mean? He don't know what he's talking about. You know what I mean? He won't. And it was just different. So, I mean, it was one of those situations where I just passed him off, man, and it ended up being a good thing, man. Because I didn't want to ruin him. You know, there's times where I be in the game, man, I be talking so much, he'd be listening to me, man, it'll throw him off. You know what I mean? So I got to the point where I just need to shut the heck up and let him play.
Sit in the corner, sit all the way up at the top.
I'll be sitting all the way at the top, dog.
Yeah. And you coaching now, right, Taji?
Yeah. I've been coaching with Run GMC, which is an Under Armour sponsored team. I've been coaching with them for like 7-8 years, and that's basically the program that Tyrese played with.
Okay.
Then I recently went over to A10 Varsity, which is a A10 radio station. Okay. So they started a program up this year. Him and Billy Thomas, who's coach at KU. Him and Chad Rader, they hit me up, man, and asked me to come over from Run GMC and help build this program, which has really turned out to be a good thing, man, because when coaching Run GMC, you're coaching really like the best of the best. But I'm that coach, man, that likes to develop kids. You know what I mean? I want to get those ones that are under the radar. You know what I mean? I want to coach those kids that, you know what I mean, they're not getting no looks, man. I want to help them get to that point where they're getting recruited and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's a better situation for me because that's how I was. I was always an underdog. You know what I mean? I wasn't, as much as I did, I was never respected as that dog that I know I was. You know what I mean? And even all my boys, they were always underrated. So,
and now you at a high school now, right?
Yeah, I'm at Ray South. I was coaching. I coached at Lincoln.
What?
Yeah, I know, man.
Ray South, dude.
I set him up, Tyrone. I knew he was going to do this.
Wait. For those that don't know, we all went to Ruskin High School, which Ray South wasn't our direct rival, but they were a rival of ours. And now you at Ray, man.
No, man, I know.
Right.
I know. It was one of those situations, man, where I was a head coach at Kaufman, and then my guy Coach Reggie Morris texted me and he hit me up. He's like, "Man, what you doing?" I'm like, shit, I'm in Kaufman, man. You know that." He's like, "Man, dog, I got a situation for you, man." And he gave me an offer I couldn't refuse, man. It was it's a good big program, great situation for me, man, and it was one of those things, man, where I hated leaving Kaufman because I had built so much there. Because I was actually the first coach at Kaufman. You know what I'm saying? So I was really, it was bittersweet, but it was a better situation for me. So that was one of those situations where I had to look out for what's best for me, and they ended up coming to Race Out, man, which is actually a good thing, man.
How long you been there, though? How long you been at Race Out?
This is gonna be my second year, Jay.
Okay.
This is gonna be my second year at Race Out.
Well, yeah. He
you know what? It's a job, dog. I ain't gonna, hey, you know what? It's a job. You ain't like,
yeah.
So,
well, Taji, man, I want to ask you, man, and I want you to touch on this just for a few minutes, man, about your daughter. Unfortunately, we share that same fate where we both lost a child to gun violence. But I want you to, if you can, talk about your baby girl and the incident of how it even happened. If you're okay to talk about it.
I'm telling you, it was crazy, man. It's gonna be crazy because there's names that's involved in that y'all know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was like where our house was always the house to come to because our kids are like me. We're always trying to help people out. You know what I mean? If a kid needs something, they can stay there. We feed them. I mean, the whole nine, man. So she ended up dating this kid that I guess was her boyfriend. You know what I mean? And they had a toxic relationship. You know what I mean? And we had brought both of them in, like, look, y'all need to stop messing with each other. Y'all are not good together. I mean, it was one of those situations where I'm like, y'all shouldn't be together. So it was on July the 4th. On July the 4th, I remember everybody was there.
That was 2020. 2020?
Yep. Yep, July 4th. And everybody's there. Everybody's having fun in my basement. And I looked at it like, if they're at my house, they not somewhere getting into no bull crap. So I didn't have a problem because my house is big enough. So I didn't have a problem with everybody just hanging out, playing pool, playing video games, you know, kicking it in my house. You know what I mean? I didn't have a problem with that. So everybody was there or whatever. And I remember we had went over to my cousin's house. Nene, y'all know Gladysha. Went over to her house. We did the fireworks thing. And I remember we came back and I was walking in the house and I came back. I said, let me get something out of my truck. So I got out the truck and I seen her driving down the street. And that was the last I seen her. You know what I mean? She went down the street. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna tell her tomorrow because her brakes were squeaking. I'm gonna tell her tomorrow, man, she need to fix her dang on brakes. So, you know, we go in the house or whatever. My phone rings the next morning. And it was you remember Todd Wade?
Yeah.
It was Todd. It was Todd. Todd was like, hey, man, you know, is Khalil there? Mind you, this dude was Khalil's best friend. So he said, man, is Khalil there? I'm like, it was kind of odd. I'm like, why is Todd calling me at 6 o'clock in the morning, asking me about my son? I'm like, man, what's going on? Man, I just curious, is Khalil there? I was like, what's going on, man? He said, man, you know somebody named Kiki. I'm like, what? I'm like, my daughter? He said, what? He said, your daughter's named Kiki? I'm like, yeah, man, what's wrong? He said, oh my God. I'm like, Todd, what? Dude, what? Oh man, dog. I ain't gonna say his name, but it was his son. His son is who murdered my daughter. You know what I mean? He was like, man, he said that she was, you know, that he didn't know who it was coming in the house and he shot somebody named Kiki. And I just hung the phone up. You know what I'm saying? And we just got to look. We went downstairs because she was with us at the time. She was with us, and you know, the kids was there. The kids was downstairs sleeping. She wasn't there. So then we got to call, and then Marquita looks at her phone, and she seen where she had sent her location. You know what I mean? She sent her location, and the location was like literally in that area, right there where, you know, where his son lived at, man. So like, it was one of those situations where, you know, he gonna claim self-defense or whatever, but reality is my daughter was not an angel. Reality is the way they said it went down, it did not go down like that. It was one of those where if somebody, let's say that you're young, back in our day, if you found out that your girl was over there with another dude, what are you typically gonna do?
You're gonna go over there.
That's exactly what happened. She found out that he was just with her the whole day. They were just together the whole day. They got together the whole freaking day. He was actually tripping with her that whole day because she was trying to get money from her baby's father for fireworks. So he was actually tripping with her for that very reason. So she went over there on some rah-rah shit. She was trying to go, she went over there. And from what they said is they didn't know it was her coming in. My daughter is not that sneaky type person. My daughter beat butt breaking windows. She doing all that type of shit. You know what I mean? Excuse my French, my bad.
No, you're all right. You're all right. You can say whatever.
Yeah, but she's not that one to be sneaking in a house. You know what I mean? And that's what they tried to say, that he had no idea who it was. He just shot into the dark and hit her point blank 3 times. You can't shoot nobody. If I turn this light off in this car and I shoot, there's no way I can hit you 3 times. There's no way that my daughter had a bullet wound in her hand where she tried to block it. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those situations where they couldn't prove, so he got off. You know what I mean? He's still walking the street now, still posting pictures on Facebook with his straps and pieces and whatever, man. But you know what I mean? Man, God gonna take care of it, bro. We don't even sweat no more. My wife, she goes through it all the time. She, you know, Marquita, it gets to her on the regular.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like she lost her daughter and then she just lost her father like 2 or 3 days ago.
Oh, so I'm sorry to hear that, bro.
Yeah, so it's like crucial right now, man. And Yeah.
Well,
So,
my condolences.
I'm sorry, Reno. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was just saying my condolences, man.
Oh no, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
No, I was just gonna ask. So, you said that was Todd's son, right?
Yeah.
How are you and Todd now? How's the relationship with you and Todd?
You know, I ain't got no problem with Todd. Todd's my dude.
Yeah.
Always has been, man. It's just we haven't spoke since then, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He called a few times, and you know what I mean. He sent his condolences probably that day, the next day, but
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Todd since. Me and Todd used to be on the horn on a regular.
Yeah.
You know, since that happened, I hadn't really talked to Todd. But Todd's still my guy. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing wrong. Todd's still my dude.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a real tragic situation.
Crazy. Yeah.
I'm really
Crazy.
sorry you had to go through that, man.
Well, man, I don't want to end this on a bad note because let's fast forward a little bit.
We talked about the business, baby.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna get to, man. That's just the gravy right here. So, man, now fast forward, you had a successful basketball career.
Yeah.
Now you are transitioned into a successful business.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a minute.
Well, I've always been that person that wanted to help people. You know what I mean? They wanted to give back. Mm-hmm. Like 2 years ago, if y'all don't know, I made that. I won that Phillips 66 All-American History. I mean, not history, but Hero Award through Phillips 66, and that was big time. Yeah, it was big time. You know what I mean? Because I'm that type of person that I've always wanted to give back. You know what I mean? If I would ever made your league, it would have been several gyms built around here. I would have made sure of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Certain things that I wanted to do and I still want to do and I plan on doing, you know what I mean? Just to give back. You know what I mean? Because that's like one of those things that's like an emotional detox to me. You know what I mean? It makes me feel good about myself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's helping other people. So I'm in hospice. You know what I mean? We are the Shalom Hospice is the name, first minority-owned hospice in Missouri, period.
The whole state?
I mean? Yeah.
Hey, y'all. Sorry to interrupt, but I just had to remind y'all. Since you are enjoying this episode, go ahead and subscribe to us. And if you're on Apple and Spotify, go ahead and follow us. We would sure appreciate it. All right, back to the episode.
Yeah. What's up? Oh, yeah. You know, a lot of people don't understand. I mean, people are scared of the word hospice, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's my job just in general, man, to educate our people on basically, man, hospice is not like it used to be. Hospice used to be like, people think that you had to be dying. Well, you do have to be dying. You got to be diagnosed with a terminal illness. Yeah. But a lot of people thought it was just only cancer, man. And then you had to be at that situation where you got like days or hours to live and stuff like that. But that's not a reality. Reality is, man, you just got to be diagnosed with the terminal illness. Mm-hmm. So I worked for another company, corporate company, man. And I saw the fact that in our community, we were getting overlooked. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't getting treated the same way. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was certain things that was going on, and I seen that, you know what I mean? And I brought that to people's attention, I mean, and they turned a blind eye to it, man. So it was like, and Marquita's auntie like reached out to me, and she's like, hey, what do you think about starting up a hospice company? I'm like, what, for real? I didn't think she was serious. But she was like, yeah, I really want to do it. So I'm like, all right, me and Marquita, we both said, okay. So we put our heads together, man, and we took a leap of faith just to jump out on this, man, because hospice is tough, bro, when you're dealing with corporate businesses that got millions. You know what I mean? They got millions at their disposal. You know what I mean? But I had developed so many good relationships around the city that I wasn't worried. You know what I mean? That's how confident I am, man. It's like, I'm just like I am in the basketball court. If you throw it to me, I'm going to get it, man, and I'm going to go demolish it. You know what I mean? I'm going to go dominate it. And that was my goal. When I dominated, when I came into that other company, they had 25 patients. I doubled that stuff to 50 in like less than like a year. Like, I mean, and that was like unheard of. And I'm like, man, so that's one thing that I did. And I carried that over to our company, man. And that's why we're still going now, man, going on 8 years. Going on 8 years, man. We probably admitted over 300 patients. You know what I mean? Yeah, so right now we got a census of about 22, 23 patients or whatever, man, but we've admitted over 300.
Wow, man.
So you had a background in healthcare or home health before that?
Nope. None at all, man. It was marketing.
Marketing.
Yeah, because that's basically what I'm a marketer, but director of community relations is what I am. You know what I mean? So that's what basically, once I got in and learned the system, learned the verbiage of hospice care and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I just took it. I just took it and ran with it, man.
Okay.
Took it and ran with it. So now I'm in the process of opening up one that's basically in my daughter's name. It's called Shanique here. We've already got the name, we already got the LLC, the whole nine, man. It's gonna be targeting developmentally delayed adults. You know what I mean? It's called ISL, individualized supportive living. So that's one thing that I'm working on now, man. I'm gonna submit it again. I submitted it last year. They denied me because of the COVID stuff, I guess, man. But it's about that time to do it again. So I'm gonna renew it and not renew it, but I'm gonna try to resubmit it and get back in there, because that's another thing that I want to touch in too, man, is the development delayed people that, you know what I mean, that need that assistance also.
Okay.
Man,
So,
you know what? So I want to kind of go back. It's related to what you're doing now, but so you said you
Yeah.
had a marketing background,
Yep.
you're killing in business, you were an athlete, and the perception of most athletes,
Yep.
not that
Yep.
bright. And right,
Yep.
you mentioned before, like they get kind of excused through
Yep.
classes, you kind of pushed along, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
now that you're in coaching and you're dealing with high school kids, what is your how do you approach the academic side of student ball players now, right? Do you really focus on their education? Or are you kind of like, well, y'all just gonna ball, man? You're gonna come on, let's go. What's your kind of now that you're older and looking back on how do you approach it now?
I'm glad you said that, man, because I'm like a walking testimony yourself. You know what I mean? Just by what I've been through, you know what I mean? Just with family, with alcohol, abuse. I mean, all that stuff in my family, within my family, not having a father, the whole nine. I utilize that with these kids nowadays. You know what I mean? Because this is a totally different breed, man. You know what I mean? Back then, back in those days, man, if Coach Warford wanted to swat us, we can get swatted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No joke. No bullshit.
It's totally different. So I push it, man. I'm like, to a point where you have no excuse. You have no excuse to fail. You have a mother, you have a father, you have this, you have that, you have all this stuff at your disposal. I didn't have any of that. So let's utilize it. So look at me now. Look at me now. I am not supposed to be here. You know what I mean? I could have went to the left or to the right. I could have went to the wrong or right. I took the right path. You know what I mean? And I tell kids that. And education-wise is the main thing, the reason that, and I tell them that, I'm like, if I was an average student, you don't have to be average.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You don't have to be average. You can be the best that you can be. And I pushed it. I'm like, with all my life experiences, I tell the kid the exact same thing, man. You don't want to do this. You got to get your grade. You're not going to do anything without an education. It's not happening. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how good you are.
And I'll even to tag team onto that, man. My daughter, she just started high school softball. But they had parents meeting about a couple of weeks ago. They said, here's a couple of things that you can't do, or last week. What you can't do, you can't even have a 2.5. You have to have a 3.0 grade point average.
At a freshman?
Every year, anybody who's playing sports got to have a 3.0 at our high school. 3.0. They check your stuff. The coaches have access to the portal every week, and they check your stuff every week. If you're failing anything, you're not playing that week. If you have a missing assignment, you're not playing. That's just, they don't play, dog. And I love that. I love that aspect of, hey, keep them accountable, because all of these kids that are playing right now, what is it, 1%? Gonna go further into that? One, maybe 10. I'm pushing it here. So you gotta have something to where you're shooting for. Yes, sports is great, and you want to strive for that excellence, but you want to strive for excellence in sports and academics. So I truly appreciate that.
And it's so important, especially for our children, right? Because it's always from the outside people looking in thinking, oh, only you're gonna make it is through sports or entertainment, right? They don't say, well, you can actually go be, an entrepreneur. You can run a business. You can be a CEO. You can be an accountant. You can be all these other you know, great careers.
Exactly.
You focus on education, you know,
Yeah.
because you're not all gonna make it in the league. You're just not. It's a
Nope.
small number, and the group is like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, entertainment is a coin flip. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
so
yeah.
take advantage of your time, your education. We need to really focus with that, especially with our kids, because it's like you're already on the uphill battle as it is.
You
Right.
dang all right. You dang all right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Jay. I
Yeah.
press that. That's one thing. It ain't just about athletics, man. I press that. Just with
Mhm.
our little organization, man. Just our little organization, A10. I think we had like 5 or 6 kids that committed to different schools. You know, it ain't no D1, but it's NAIA, D2, D3, JUCO. It's education. You know what I mean? They forgoing their
Yeah.
career. You know what I mean? And that's what we set out to do, man. And that's what I set out to do. And education it starts there.
Well, do me a favor and tell A10 when you talk to them, they get another black host. That last black host they had was Jax, ain't? Wasn't it
Really?
Big Jax?
You want me to get down? Want me to get down with you?
Yeah,
I
man.
got, man, you know, Chad is my guy, man.
Yeah, you let him know, man. We ain't having all this no more, man. We need some black DJs in there, man. Big DJs, whatever you want to call them, hosts.
Yeah.
They ain't had a black host in a minute, man. They better
For real?
get it right.
Man, I'm gonna hook you over. I'm gonna hook you up, man. That's my dude, man. Chad Raider, dog. That's my dude, man.
Yeah, some good
For
guys.
real.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Taji, man, it was great catching up with you, bro. Man, it's been a long ass time since I actually seen you. You know, other than, you know, Facebook and
Yes,
stuff
it
like that.
has, dog.
Maybe reunion. I don't know if you go to the last reunion or not, but
I never make it. I never make it. Every time we have a reunion, I got something going on, man.
well, I haven't seen you in a very, very long
He too big time for reunions, dog.
Oh yeah,
He like what's her
Nah,
name off
dog. No, man.
what's
Nah.
her name off Married to Medicine? Contessa.
Oh, Contessa.
Who
Oh
was it?
Yeah.
You
Another
know,
big
she
time.
probably ain't going no reunion. She too big. She too big for that now.
We need to get Contessa on here too, though.
You know,
That'll be a great thing.
Somehow.
You doing
But
big
no,
things,
Taji,
boy.
man, we appreciate you coming on here, dog. We really do. We appreciate
Yeah.
you. You know, before we go, we do have one last segment we'd like to cover with everybody. It's called Hey Young World, right?
Okay.
And basically, if you go back to your 20-year-old self and give him any kind of advice, what would it be?
My 20-year-old self.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a tough one, man. 20-year-old self. Ah, man, let me think. 20 years. I was at Kansas State. It was a crucial point for me, man. Honestly, man, what I would do, who are we talking to? Are we talking to kids? Are we talking to adults?
You talking to your 20-year-old self. You talking to your 20-year-old self. What would you tell you?
Talking to Taji at 20.
Man, at Taji at 20, honest to God, man, what I would have done was I would at least went and took that baseball, dog. Hey, I would at least
that draft
a training camp, man. I would at least went to the training camp, man. And then if you look back at that year also, man, I would have pursued the league a little bit stronger. You know what I mean? I got comfortable overseas.
Yeah.
And I would have pursued that because I had that opportunity. You know what I mean? But having a family, you're gone 7, 8 months out of the year, and then you come home, and then to be gone another 2 or 3 months trying out for different teams was kind of tough for me. You know what I mean? With me being a family man back then, I think I would have probably pursued it a little bit stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't regret it, but I think I would have. I would have went at another direction, man.
Right.
But I don't regret nothing. I don't regret anything.
No regrets,
because it wouldn't bring you to where you are right now. You know.
That's right.
That's right. That's what makes us. Our mistakes make us. So with that, Ren, you got any last words you wanna?
No, brother. I just appreciate your time tonight, man. We're gonna let you get back, go out there, and hit a couple home runs tonight. On the softball field, man.
For
again, dude, we just ask everybody to live their dreams, and if you need help reaching those dreams, find you a mentor, find somebody out here that's gonna get y'all out here and get you to your highest potential.
For sure. That's what.
My man. I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Big Taji, it's big love. We appreciate you. Big
Frank.
Man.
Little J.
I'm Little J, y'all. Kings move on.
All right, dog. Later.
All right.